Hi, this is Dave. Welcome back to my December diversions. As you might know, if you've seen my recent videos, I'm working on the Commodore A2088 XT Bridgeboard, and I'm doing an assembler project there. And today I thought I would touch on the notion of software artifacts. When I was in graduate school in computer sciences, I took a class called Analysis of Software Artifacts. And it was a fascinating class, pretty interesting thing that I think some folks are missing in terms of formal education about computer science and software development. But a software artifact, just a real artifact is just something that's an object that is a side effect of a human ingenuity or created by human beings, so something that's not natural. In software artifacts, it's just similarly the objects or the things that are left from doing software development. And they could be things like source code, they could be listing files, they could be object files, they could be executables, they could be the revision history of the software. And I was working on this Bridgeboard project, and I happened to stumble across an interesting artifact that I'd like to show you. So let's go to the Bridgeboard and take a look at that. Comes up, it says it's running Commodore BIOS. It says drive A is bad because I don't have one in there, so let's continue past that. When I was working with my software before, was I have to run subs to assign drive A to be a directory because I don't have a real drive A. And I just happened to accidentally, because I thought of substituting as assigning A to a directory, I typed assign instead. And started giving it its parameters like assign A to C colon / draw. And notice here the error it's giving is false share parameter. It's in German. It just means wrong parameter. So how in the world did we get a German version of the assign command on here? This is with my PC Bridgeboard. Here's the manual that came with MS-DOS 3.3 on a 5 1/4 floppy. It says MS-DOS English, but clearly that message is in German. So let's go into the system directory. As I'm going through here, I noticed, most of them are from '88, almost all of them. But if we look specifically at assign.com, it's dated September 13th, '88, where nearly everything else is dated June 13th of '88. If I run other commands, like let's run tree with a wrong argument, it says invalid parameter in English. So somehow, nearly all of the system MS-DOS 3.3 from Commodore is in English, except that one command, assign, is in German. So to explore this a little further, I took the contents of my whole DOS 3.3 distribution that was supplied with the Amiga Bridgeboard that I bought in 1990 and extracted it on my Linux machine, where I'm more familiar with the tools, especially forensic tools. So let's look at that. So here's the system directory and the things that are in there. And what I want to do is use the strings command, a very common Unix command that finds null terminated strings in any file. So it's especially useful for searching for humanly readable strings in binaries. So let's look at that assign.com with the strings command. So the first thing we see is some garbage that's probably that aren't really ASCII strings. They're just part of the .com file format or the library with something the linker drops. But then we see that German message that we found when we were running the command, invalid parameter, and then DOS strings are often terminated with a $. And then we see another one, false DOS Fassung, and this would be invalid DOS version. So there are two German messages and nothing else in assign.com. Now, so what about the others? Well, we could pick other commands, like let's look at tree.com. Tree.com, that has a bunch of, same thing we saw with the other one, some non-humanly readable things that the strings command mistakes for strings, but then a bunch of stuff in English. So we've only got a small set of commands here. Why don't we look through all of them? for each file in star.star, I'll run Perl just to print the name of the command so we know which one is going to run strings on. And then I'll print a long string of pound signs so that visually we can see when it changes from running strings on one input file to another. And then we'll run the strings command on it, and that's the end of the loop. So let's see what that looks like, and we'll page through that. So there's ansi.sys, append.exe, and we can just page through all of these. And I can tell you, I've paged through all of them. There's not so many. The only one I see German messages in is assign.com. So that was a software artifact exposing the German origin or roots of the Commodore Amiga Bridgeboard and its software. The other day I watched Jan Beta's December project where he dives into using the XT Bridgeboard and follows a similar path to what I was doing. But Jan knows different things than I do, and he's actually a German, so he had some pretty interesting, colorful content to his video. I'll add a link, so check that out. But I wanted to compare his XT Bridgeboard to mine. It looks like he had an early version of XT Bridgeboard. So let me show you my board while we're talking about this. Here it is. And on Jan's board, the text down in the lower left, where mine says PC Emulator A2000, has also said that, but then underneath it, it has said made in Germany, and then parenthetically BSW, which is Braunschweig, which is the Commodore plant in Braunschweig, Germany. So Jan talks a bit about the team there that built first the Amiga 2000 and then this Bridgeboard. Now, if we look at my Bridgeboard, you'll see that it says QC Pass in Hong Kong, but you still see BSW in parentheses, which is a shout out to the Braunschweig Commodore plant that designed it. So not a software artifact, but a hardware artifact that points to the German lineage of the Commodore Amiga Bridgeboard. Anyway, that's what I have for you today, and I'll be back to my project. If you want to see more little tidbits like this, and if you're not subscribed already, please do that, and I'll see you next time.